Welcome to the first Researcher Spotlight. In this series, the Organic Farming Research Foundation speaks with experts about the challenges faced by organic farmers. This video, Managing the Spotted Winged Drosophila, or SWD, addresses a common insect pest of small fruit systems and follows the research by Dr. Ash Sial, university colleagues, and participating organic farmers.
My name is Ash Sial. I am currently a blueberry entomologist at University of Georgia. I grew up in Pakistan, did my education until undergrad there. I did master's in United Kingdom, then flew over Atlantic to get my PhD at Washington State University. After graduating with PhD, I started my postdoc at UC Berkeley, and then did a short postdoc at Cornell University, then landed at University of Georgia in my current position. Since I started here at the University of Georgia, my assignment has been working with insect pests of small fruits, helping farmers develop sustainable IPM programs. And the timing was such that when I arrived here, spotted winged Drosophila, which is an invasive fly of Asian origin, was a serious issue that farmers were facing, and I started with this pest as soon as I landed in this position and have been working with this ever since. That's a good question. When I started here, Georgia is blueberry production is growing in Georgia at a really fast pace. Majority of the production is conventional, but when this fruit fly came in and it became pest, it caused a lot of damage. And, when an invasive pest comes in, our first sort of go-to approach is to use broad spectrum insecticides to control it. And then while we are thinking about other more sustainable options, and that option was valid and it worked well in conventional systems, but for organic systems, we did not have those weapons available. That is where, when I heard the stories of organic farmers struggling with this management of this pest, that's when I thought, well, we need to do something. We need to dig deeper into biology and ecology and investigate and behavior and investigate, more alternatives to broad spectrum insecticides that can be used in organic systems. We also evaluated cultural practices. For example, two practices that we focused the most was canopy management and floor management. Canopy management was primarily to thin the berries, for example, bushes heavily, so more light comes through the bushes, through the canopy, into the zone, middle of the canopy, where most of the fruit occurs. And that is where this fly comes in and lays eggs in the fruit. And once we open up the canopy again, the rationale behind that was that once we open up the canopy, more light will come through. It will reduce humidity a little bit and increase temperature a little bit. And that is what creates an environment less conducive to this fly, for this fly to survive there and thrive there. So, and that's one strategy that works in some systems. Another floor management strategy that we focused on that involved primarily investigating different kinds of barriers that we can put on the floor. For example, black weed mat, or some reflective mulches, or some other materials that we could use to cover the floor. Again, rationale behind connecting it back to the biology of the pest was that these flies, when they are completely done feeding as larvae inside the berries and ready to pupate, they come out of the berries for the most part to pupate. And during that process, intentionally or unintentionally, they drop to the ground and get into the soil to pupate. The goal was to have some barriers on the ground, so flies, when they are larvae, when they drop to the ground to pupate, they will not be able to get into the soil and will be toasted and killed, because the surface of the barrier or weed mat or reflective mulches is generally hotter. So other strategies that we focused on was using physical barriers, sort of physical control, using high tunnels or other different materials to keep the flies away from fruit. And that was one strategy that is foolproof. If you are able to implement it on time, you can get 100% prevention from the infestation. But it obviously, because of the costs involved, it works better at a smaller scale economically. However, some farmers we have worked with over the years, they have been very creative in using or repurposing materials that they had at the farms for other purposes to create those structures to put the covers on, and all those ways to minimize the cost as well. So this strategy prevents 100% protection from SWD in blueberries, and really high, close to 90% protection in blackberries and raspberry systems. Farmers have played a key role in our projects and can do the same with other projects like this, because whatever we do, we directly work with farmers. We do very smaller amount of work in the lab setting. Most of the work that we did with OREI was field-based. And farmers here in my state here in Georgia, especially the blueberry farmers that we work with, they are extremely good. They are just super nice farmers. Whenever we ask them, we need a field, we have this new product, we want to evaluate, they have always welcomed us at their farms. That is key. That is the key, basically. If we don't get that support, we are not able to make progress as we want to, or as we did in this project. This is really a teamwork. I have to say, any major grant that involves a pest of a nature that we are working with, which is a widespread issue, not in one state or not limited to even one region, which is a pest of national scope, I highly recommend or highly advise or suggest my other colleagues to consider developing a multi-regional project where you involve other regions, other states, researchers, faculty members from other states where this same pest or same issue exists. That way, there is no duplication of efforts going on. And one lab or one state can do only so much. So this is what I would recommend everybody who is interested in developing such project, is just contact colleagues at other institutions, put together a good team, and then work with farmers to solidify the ideas to develop a good proposal.